Evening. Welcome to the first edition of Ugly Duckling Tarot by Ro, or with Ro, or death, right? This will be entitled Secrets Don't Make Friends. And how we make friends if we chose them for an advantage. Secondly, what are friends if they're not ones who tend to lean upon us for growth, that they couldn't find in themselves, but each has to find it within themselves. And that's all very complicated, isn't it? Especially being affiliated with all the secrets and all the friends, apart from enemies. And it's really hard to tell. But we each got to speak our mind. And so, of course, the biggest jackass would be affiliated with all the secret groups and would have to reveal all the secrets. While trying to, I don't know what trying to is, being it on the spot, couldn't be clean, couldn't be dirty, couldn't be truthful, couldn't be lying. And everyone will just change it anyway, being who we are. So, let's start our first reading on this channel. For this first card, I'd like to see some guidance, which I don't know shit, and neither do they, or anyone among us, where anything could go. So I have my trusty secondary phone here. Let's get it to the right place here and see what it might have to think about, anything that I might have a question about. Don't pull it up on Gemini because, well, that seems to be the biggest problem of everyone and all. It's this idea of how can we get two minds parallel, apart from a mind, embodying a mind. For everyone who embodies a mind of a position is kind of ass out and all lean upon here, apart from needing to. So, the first card that threw itself out, we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Intuitively, I see this as a great blessing. Where the three's here, where I'm at, empowering others. With three, oh, ain't that the devil symbol, right? But balancing it, because what's the devil if it's not somebody who thinks they're in control? And right side up, it appears to be a couple talking to a laborer who might be building the church in order to make things better or to offer their appreciation. And then they can go away in the night and they can copulate or have whatever blessings they may have. And this man at the same time can think, I did a good work. It's perfect work. And it's up to everyone else. But truly, what is that? If none of us could do a perfect work, and if we could, it would probably look ugly, is the truth behind it. So I'm guided to, three groups in particular. We have the Masons, the Freemasons, who cast all their spells in the dark, but then set up some kind of linear or delineation of how everything should go, while they ladder the mind in the dark apart, but they have a code among them, but none could speak of it. And each of them had to enter a dark room and be beat up by each other, jubili, jubilo, jubilum, and come to seek it apart from themselves and have to keep secrets. But they're all friends. But they're all tied to something beyond themselves. And so, in one sense, yeah, it's honor. Another, it's power. Another, it's ignorance and cowardice. Secondly, I have the Rosicrucian Order, which seems to embody the innocence of the soul, and how each of us are innocent, like Tigger, and the soul knows where it's going, and trust, and love, and believe. But in that essence, anyone can lead us wherever they want us to go and use us as their vehicle, apart from us having our own vehicle. And so we're turned back to Osiris and the foundation of spirituality, which seems to be in Egypt. And thirdly, I have this balance of the two orders, one that I haven't particularly subscribed to, the Martinist movement. But all of these things start with the, and who is the, and what is the, apart from the, if everyone goes to the, apart from being it, and somebody has to. But the starts with the cross, which is two. Oh. But anytime anyone knows what they're doing, but doesn't know, like you're showing somebody something, and I don't know how that works. Then they're like, oh. Oh, what? Here, let me try. And then the one that taught them is like, yeah, but no. And so each of us walks on our own two, apart from two, as the one, and leading it forward. Card fell out, but it's upside down. Let's see what that might be. You know, everyone else on their channel begins at the beginning, at the end, at the end. Makes it all look pretty and nice and sets it all up. But some of us have to walk the entire journey. And every step forward is like 2 steps back, and every step back is like 2 steps forward. While everyone tries to get in alignment. But if one is in alignment, well, then how could you lead? If you're in alignment, means that others can control you and be like, hey, look, you're the boss. Look, I'm the boss. And now I'll do what I'm told. Or be in innocence, which is very much the same as election, isn't it? The card we're given is the Four of Swords. What this reminds me of in this moment is how each mind is trapped, balancing itself apart from itself, as VI. But V is 22 in our language, and I is 9. So how can you divide a balance apart from a balance and a mind, and lead the mind, balancing it apart from being able to balance it? Because if you could balance it, then all would be so. And then, well, you might as well be emperor without having anything to say, encased in a glass tomb, without anything to say, without anything to do, and everyone could use you, against you, for themselves, and aside, and just be like this first card, and be like, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, I'm doing a good job. I'll keep going. Or, hey, we came here as a couple. Now we'll leave as a couple. Haha. Both sides beat themselves. But nobody can beat anyone else. Truly. If it's all an affiliation. If those that are in power are apart from themselves and allowing and having everyone else do the talking, do the speaking, holding the power and giving it to them, only to need a signature so that they could run off, then really what power is that? Or if any innocent person could be picked up and made the Grand Master and needing something apart from themselves that they automatically imbue, or not imbue is not the right word, embody, apart from being able to embody it, what a challenge, right? Now we're given 2 cards. The King of Cups in reverse. And having to hold the mind, the entirety of it, and continue to build with all the positives and all the negatives, and holding it backwards. Like, well, how can the cop be the robber? And how could the criminal be the truth? How could the cop be the person on the most drugs that there could be, and the person on drugs somehow be the one that actually is there with what the uniformed ones are trying to embody? I pose that to you to think about. Followed up with Judgment, this XX, which ironically is one of the symbols of the Freemasons. But the free, they're all trapped in their minds, apart from having a mind, apart from being able to speak, apart from having a body, because the body that they hold is all of those that work under them and empower them with the money. And all the money was created based upon a count of heads or a count of bodies. And as soon as they could step outside that boundary, then they have all the power at the same time as they have none, where every employee could quit, where the stock market could change. And then they lose it all. Now, all of us are connected. And really, to have the power, each of us has to embody it. But it's an embodiment. And that's the question I pose upon you now. What is an embodiment? If the stars have to embody it apart from embodying it, so then they're 2 minds upon the mind. They're opposite of what they are, while empowering others as a mimicry. And each of us has exactly the same amount of power as every other, as given here in the Ace of Wands. They each can grow from a stick. It's not grounded. Who's watering it? It's merely from the air. But what air? If each of us awoke to being suffocated against ourselves. In order to empower everyone based upon our mere existence. And finally, for this reading, as the first, where it is, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Look, the W, rebirth is the M. There is no rebirth. Each of us is walking out a path. At the same time as at any moment, we can make a choice. But where's the fear at? There is no fear. If all these symbols here have to do with God, is within, then it's best that we lead with our heart. Lead with the mind as it arrives, and do our best for all others. And there's not really anything to take. There's nothing necessarily to give. And if we give it with our whole heart and mind the best we could, without a heart or mind, as I'm speaking right now, I'm not thinking about my heart. I'm not thinking about my thoughts. And I'm not thinking about what the card means traditionally. Then isn't that the cutting edge of true unconditional love? But relationships, isn't that where it gets complicated? Wanting the best for somebody else. Wanting the best for ourselves. They say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Because then that flips it on, okay, so then you should do each thing with an intention. But then that intention can be used against us or against others. If there is no intention, then true is true and is, apart from mind and apart from body, and each shall lead as it is.